Hello, it's good to be here again after a while. I'm a bit nervous, I haven't done this in a while, so if my voice goes like this, just pretend nothing happened. I'm here to talk to you today about custom options. Boring, right? Who thinks custom options are boring? Okay, perfect. But I don't care. Just like Vlad said, I'm a legend. This means I'm old and I'm grumpy. And this presentation, I usually do the presentations to teach people something, to show something. This presentation is for me. Hence the subtitle, A Nostalgic Story. I'm one of those old grumpy guys that starts conversations with back in my days. So here today you're going to listen to just a simple story. I don't care if it's boring. I love it. So you'll sit through it. Okay. This is me. What I do for a living, I write code at Arnia software, Apsys AI. You want to know what Apsys AI is? You can visit our booth outside. And when it's actually socially acceptable to start drink, you can have a beer on us also. I don't know, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever. In my spare time, I'm a board game addict. We can talk about this outside if you want. I can talk for hours. And it's even more boring than custom options, but again, I like it. In my presentations, I use some images from the internet without their accept, but I listed them here just for, I don't know. And the solution that I'm going to present here is not a silver bullet solution. It's something that we actually did for one of our clients. It's nice, I like it, but yeah, it's worth a try. And some events were actually exaggerated for dramatic effect, so don't take for granted everything. This is the agenda that we're going to talk about. What are custom options, advantages? Who here has used custom options? A lot of people. Who here started swearing when they had to use custom options? Okay. Getting this out of the way, what are custom options? Well, based on the Adobe documentation, it's an easy way to offer a selection of options of different types if your inventory is simple. And it looks like this. You can add like any type of messages, fields you want in your products. It's nice, it gets the job done. These are the advantages. They're pretty straightforward. You have different options like text area, drop-downs, whatever. In Magento 2, you can actually clone custom options from different products, which is nice because in Magento 1 was horrible. And again, it gets the job done if your inventory needs are simple. But what are the downsides? Well, you get very little overview of what's happening, so you can easily lose track of them. It's not fun to manage when you have a large catalog. Well, not fun, I mean it's horrible. And I don't like to manage it when I have a small catalog either, but that's just a personal opinion. And you're pretty restricted to styling your custom options. Now I'm going to go for the nostalgic story. Like I said, back in my day, it all started in September 2017, where there was no COVID, when Magento was called Magento. We got a new client called Fits & Winkle, one of the largest bike retailers in the Netherlands, and we had to migrate their website from Magento 1 to Magento 2 and do a rebranding, redesign, cleanup, whatever. And we also gradually took over their whole ecosystem that they had around their website, like ERP, CRM, order fulfillment, warehouse management, even apps for mechanics, and everything. And after 1.5 painful years, with an awesome team, so this is the best teams, because there were 19 developers in multiple teams, not all of them working on Magento. This was the most awesome teams that I worked with so far. 2 awesome product owners and 1 awesome client. Developers don't usually say this about clients, but this is actually my favorite client ever. We didn't find a Scrum Master, so we take turns every sprint. One of the developers was the Scrum Master, but that's not important. So in September 2017 on Magento 1.9, it looked like that. In March 2019 on Magento 2.1, looked like that. But about the custom options, So in their Magento 1 website, they had a custom solution. They had a lot of custom options and a lot of products, so you couldn't manage them manually. And they had a solution that, based on different rules, custom options would be attached to different products. I'm not going to name the vendor that created the extension. You all know it, but I'm not going to name it. And yeah, it kind of worked. And for the redesign that we did and for the new platform, we kind of took a similar approach. We tried to actually buy the same module from the same vendor, but guess what? They weren't compatible. You couldn't even transfer data from one to another, so we quit and built our own solution. That was kind of similar, looked like this. It took us about 4 iterations to stabilize it. By 4, I mean 9, and by stabilize it, I mean not crash the website every time it executed. So it was a cron that used to run and check all the products and attach custom options based on different rules. Chaos. But it worked. Then, a bit later, in June 2019, the same client came up with another idea. They wanted to actually, well, a law was passed in Netherlands that will allow companies to buy for their employees bicycles based on the mobility. It is boring. Mobility budget offered by the state, it doesn't matter. The idea is that they wanted a platform that would gather leasing companies, bike dealers, private companies, and users, the riders, how they call them. And yeah, a private company can lease a bike to their employees. There are a lot of other terms and conditions and restrictions. But the deadline was pretty tough because someone made a press release. Oh, this was supposed to go live on 2020, January 1st, because that's when the law came into effect. And someone did a press release saying that they're going to be the first one to do it on January 1st. And we had to implement it. So, new project, new problems. This was supposed to be B2B, a lot of Bs in there, and to C. And it had to have private sales, prices per month, and prices per different leasing periods, because if you buy a bike for 48 months, the price is going to be cheaper than for 36 months, and so on. You could buy only one bicycle per order, but you have multiple accessories. You can buy insurance, you can buy service. You need to be flexible. I don't know, maybe we want to give out a free bunny for every bike. We don't know yet. We had a hard deadline, and it should actually integrate with the existing ecosystem. This doesn't look like a Magento project, right? I mean, my first thing, who, after seeing this, who thinks that this is not suited for Magento? Okay, I thought so too. But when you only have one hammer, you tend to see everything as a nail. So we had a lot of hammers available at that point. We had some Magento resources available, only that. We had, so their B2C website was already integrating with their whole ecosystem, so we could reuse stuff, because it's awesome, not just to save time. And a few of the things that we could reuse was the product import. I don't know who was at the event on 2019 when, well, yeah, of course you were. When the projector wasn't actually working and I got pissed off during my presentation. But anyway, I made the presentation about how we did the product import that was pretty fast and reliable. We had like test ride scheduler, dealer management, services, insurances, store locator, checkout. But I didn't like to move the custom option solutions. So I came up with the ultimate solution. It's not ultimate, but I like this word. So what I realized at one point is that this is the method that it starts to get technical now, so I'm kind of done with the story. This is the method that actually retrieves the custom option. It's public, so next thing is to, well, do some fake options. We can write plugins on that. So I started actually doing it as a proof of concept. I didn't want to actually implement this idea, but it actually worked in the end. So you can do an after plugin where you actually get options from a anywhere else, and you can attach them to the product. And then I actually remember those courses in college where you actually need to follow best practices. So the plugins should be as light as possible. It shouldn't have too much business logic. So you should delegate to something else the responsibility. So I started splitting it up. Basically made an interface, but then I realized, okay, I need different types of options. I need like helmets, I don't know, batteries, insurance, service, which are not actual physical products. So again, maybe you want a free bunny, maybe the bunny is not free. Side note here, I think the bunny stuff might become a recurrent joke here. So I'm starting the dev track with talking about bunnies. We're going to end it with Sorin from Bunny Shells. If everyone can slide the joke about the bunny in their slide, that would be awesome. So we did like a composite fake option retriever, which will actually aggregate all the options from the other retrievers that we do. So we started doing. We had one option retriever for accessories, one option retriever for insurance, for service, for bunnies. I don't know, what else you wanna add in there? And the idea was simple. Everything should return an object that follows a simple structure. This is it. You need for an option, you need to set a title, you need to attach it to a product, you need to set a type. This is really important. I'll come back to it later. You need to set an ID, and if it's required or not. And if that option has different values, so if you want to have like something similar to a drop-down or radio buttons, you need to add values, which again follow a simple structure. You set an ID, an SKU, title, a price, anything, and that's it. And it actually works. But there's a problem, again. If you run this, so what I've shown in here, if you run it on the global scope of Magento, you get this in the backend, because Magento has no idea what custom options of type service or of type insurance is. So I did the quick and dirty solution. Basically, and you cannot run it only in the front-end scope, because the checkout runs in the API scope. We need to fetch stuff from the global scope, and yeah, gets weird. So I came up with a quick and dirty solution. If I'm in the admin scope, just screw it. Stop everything, and otherwise, just get the options and move on. And now we're styling the options. This is what I love. So when displaying the custom options, Magento has just 3 lines of code that says get option HTML, which is perfectly fine. And the method that actually gets the HTML, it's on the other side. It just looks for a block that is named exactly how you declared your type of custom options, and that's it. It uses that block and that template to render this. So what can you do about the styling options? You need to create a model that actually extends from the default type. It doesn't need to extend, but it helps to, where you get additional methods where you can do stuff that prepares the custom option for cart. You can see if it's enabled, if it's disabled, if it's whatever you want. You can format the way it's displayed. You can do price manipulation. You can validate if the user selected the value or multiple values or anything. And it's like this. The weird part is, I do know why this is happening. So basically, you have option types and option groups. But in Magento, this is done because you have an option group called select, which actually renders the select custom options and the radio buttons. Couldn't have been easier with just one simple one-dimensional array, but yeah, there are 2 arrays. Like any other stuff, just get over it, use it like this, so you can declare one different type of group and one option that you assign it to that group. I use the example with free bunny because I like bunnies. And in order to style it, like I said, you need to add in the layout just one simple block that is named exactly like your custom type and one template where you can get crazy and get creative and do whatever you want. And this is the final result. This is how it ended looking like. So you have configurable options, and on the lower side, you have the actual custom options that are actual physical products, except for insurance and service. But you can display pictures. We also had like stock management for them. If one product was out of stock, it wouldn't simply appear as in here. It looks like a bundle product, but we couldn't actually use bundle products because ecosystem that we had to integrate with didn't support bundle products. Oh yeah, and the bunny pictures, which are not really clear in there, are provided by David Manners. We know David Manners, and we miss him. That is not here right now. Yeah, and this is how it looked in the cart. So this actually worked out of the box, displaying the custom options. It doesn't matter if they're different types, they're custom types that you did. Magento knows how to actually display them and handle them. So, yeah. But, oh yeah, I forgot to say something. The hard deadline was not for a fully operational solution. We were supposed to build something disposable, because in the meantime, someone else was building a nice API that the dealers could integrate into their own websites, that the leasing companies could integrate into their own websites. But yeah, this temporary solution was pulled off last year in October. So for a temporary solution built in 4 months with 2 developers and half of a QA, and that lasted almost 3 years, it was awesome. This was my favorite project. And if you didn't pay attention until now, pay attention now, because my whole presentation could have been summarized into this. If you need different types of custom options, you just need to write an after or around plugin on a certain method. You can create your fake options following a simple structure, and then you can do a presentation bragging about it like you did something big. Yeah, and now, if you want, you can go to a Q&A session, and no, we didn't actually give out free bunnies with every bike purchase, unfortunately. Man, I'm ahead of schedule.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, but, oh, I don't know who did the agenda for this, but it was an awesome putting me to open the dev track, because it doesn't matter how good the next presentations are, this one will make all of them look even better. So, if you have questions about anything, shoot.
Very bunny, as usual.
Yeah, I don't know what sounds a bunny make, but I'll try to.
Okay, thank you. Now, okay. Questions?
Oh, I told you, it's boring. It's about custom options. Nobody wants to ask about custom
very
options.
custom options.
Yeah, exactly. Really, really custom options. Damn it.
I think everybody wants to ask something in private.
No, my colleague raised his hand, and I'm going to get him for this.
This will be good.
For you, maybe.
Hello, I'm Radu, colleague of Marius.
I know.
At some point, I worked on a project on which there were very, very many attributes, like 5,000 attributes. So the question is it feasible to think of replacing the attributes with custom options?
Well, depends on what you need. I mean, you mean attributes like in configurable attributes, where the user needs to select values for those attributes when adding a product to the cart? Could be. It could be worth a try.
Because the problem we had was in terms of performance, because having like 5,000 attributes can cause a bit of a performance issue. So I was wondering if using customizable options would have been a better approach.
Yeah, actually, we did an audit at one point for someone that had a website that sold parts for, I don't know, hydraulic systems, which are basically 1 million parts. And they wanted to migrate to Magento, but they couldn't do it, because if they created everything as a configurable product, for at least 5 or 10 of those products, they would need to have like 2 billion different simple products, because that's... And we did the audit, we did the plan, we didn't do the project, I don't know what happened, but actually this was the proposed solution, to actually have everything as custom options, because at that point you didn't need to create 2 billion products, you need to create only one, that in the end could end up in 2 billion combinations, but you didn't need to store those 2 billion combinations. So it could be, I'm not saying it will work, I'm saying it's worth a try and to do a proof of concept and, I don't know, compare how it behaves with 5,000 attributes and values compared to 5,000 custom options.
Thank you.
We have another question here.
What have you started, Radu?
Hello. So as a kind of follow-up for the last question, one challenge when you quit using the attributes is that you lose stock management. So can you talk a bit about how complicated it was to link the custom options with actually managing the stock for different SKUs?
Yeah, I see where you're getting with this. In my case, it was pretty simple because except for service and insurance, which is not a physical product, so you don't need stock for it, all the other options that I had listed somewhere in here, so the batteries, the bunnies, we also had helmets, chargers, whatever you needed, those were actual physical products. They were stored in the database as simple products. They were not visible anywhere. You couldn't buy them separately, but they had stock on them. So it would be easy when actually rendering this page to check the in-stock and out-of-stock options and display them or not display them. So yeah, you're right. If you're going with attributes and combinations, I have no idea how you can do it. At least not the top of my head, how you can actually do this to manage the stock. Sorry.
Any more questions?
There was another hand up. Ah, see.
There it is.
Remember.
So at the previous company, we had a customer that sold desks, and all the desks, all of them were configurable. The problem why they didn't want to have them configurable is that they wanted to add options quite easily. And once you create a configurable product, if you want to add another option, another configurable option to it, it's quite complicated. Sometimes you just have to delete it and recreate it again. And that will mess up the SKUs, the inventory, and a bunch of stuff that need to be recreated. So they used custom options. But if you use custom options, you do not have a unique SKU at the end of when you're actually trying to buy that product.
Yes, you can.
Please enlighten me, how do you do that? Because that was the stuff that we had to estimate and we have to build custom, per se.
Yeah, I don't know if it works out of the box, but the method that says get SKU on a quote, on a cart item, and on a product do different things. I actually had it the other way around. I needed to have the same SKU, but some custom options kind of screwed it up. And you can basically do a plugin on the cart item get SKU method and do your stuff in there and basically add to it or generate the SKU based on your needs just through a simple plugin. So yeah, that should work. I love it how everybody started the questions with, well, back in my days, I had a problem, so I'm not the only one getting older here.
Thank you. Back in my day,
see, everybody gets it.
no, I'm interested. How much of those options you had to calculate at runtime, rather than were the caching mechanisms necessary, or did Magento just pull it off?
Kind of in between. I mean, we managed these custom options in a separate section, so we basically had a few tables that managed the prices, the leasing prices, everything, the products, and, well, not the products, we will just put an SKU of the real product and configure the options that you see here. And we had simple rules, so basically if the bike has this, this and this and this, these are the sets of custom options that you're going to use. But it was a simple rule, like for the B2C website, we used something that had like the full rule system of Magento, and that was really heavy and kind of killed us easily. But no, we calculated this at runtime, but the idea is that the custom options were, I don't know, around of 1,000. So the only possible options. And we had like caching mechanisms that you didn't need to calculate this, caching per blocks, per full page cache, and everything. The only difference was that depending on the period that you select, you would see different prices. So we needed kind of different cache levels, but that was achieved pretty easily. So I don't actually know how it could work if you have, let's say, 1 million custom options, but yeah. We didn't see the need, so I didn't even try it.
Okay, thank you. You see, custom options are not boring.
Yeah, no, they still are.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.